Assalamu alaikum, this is Dr. Mona Al-Idrisi, author of The Muslim Narcissist. In today's podcast, I'll be speaking about how narcissism in people is actually used in the Satanic mission to completely dismantle the family unit. Now, what do I mean when I say this? If you have read my book, or if you've listened to my podcast before, or if you've had one-to-one counseling coaching, you would have understood that narcissism is a set of traits, a collection of traits that are found in the shaitan. They are found in satanic spirits. So these are the traits that are considered to be negative when they're used in a negative way. For example, anger, rage, manipulation, deception, pretending to be someone that you're not, and all of those things. So when we practice these traits, we are essentially practicing the satanic part of us, the part of us that's not pleasant, the part of us that's immoral. Now, the difference between empathic people and narcissistic people are that narcissists continuously practice and implement their narcissistic traits on a daily basis, whereas empaths, when they are presented with an opportunity to implement their narcissistic traits in a situation, they decide not to. So, for example, if you're presented with an opportunity to lie about something or to steal something or to deceive someone, someone who is empathic will put themselves in the shoes of the other person. How would that person feel if I did that to them? Would I like it if someone did that to me? This is what empathy is. When you have the ability to put yourselves in the shoes of other people. When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, no one is a true believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. This is the true empath. So empaths will think twice. They will think twice before implementing those narc traits on somebody. Now, a supernova empath won't even question it. A supernova empath, when they are presented with an opportunity to be narcissistic, they will completely shut that door. That's when you're at the highest level of empathy, when you're at the highest level of taqwa and morality. But lower level empaths, they have a choice. And the empath will always choose to not implement those narcissistic traits on somebody. However, a codependent is more likely to do that, and a narcissist is more likely to do that. So actually, a narcissist will always do that. A codependent may do it here and there, because in order for a codependent to survive with a narcissist, they also have to play the manipulation game. They also have to lie, cheat, steal, and play all the mind tricks and mind games of narcissists so that they can actually get through life with them. But a narcissist, by default, they will always implement narcissistic traits to get what they want in life. You will find that they're pathological liars. They lie continuously. They deceive continuously. They pretend to be someone that they're not continuously. So when someone is narcissistic on a daily basis, this is how we can identify them as being narcissists. So you don't actually have to go and get a diagnosis from a clinical psychologist. If you are narcissistic every day, you are a narcissist. That is now who your identity is. That is your identity. People can vouch for the fact that you are narcissistic every day. But when you're narcissistic every now and again, here and there, you might have a really bad day and you might rage at someone or disrespect somebody or lie to somebody about something. If it's something that happens every now and again, you're not considered to be a narcissist, but just someone who has some difficulties in restraining their narcissistic traits in difficult times. That's not someone who's a narcissist. It's just someone who is unable to restrain those traits at those particular times. So when somebody continuously practices their narcissism on other people, the issue that comes from this is that if you're a narcissist and you present yourself to be somebody pious, or someone who is religious, or someone who's empathic and kind and great and loving and all of these things, you're naturally going to attract people who are looking for those traits. So codependents and lower level empaths will fall for the narcissist charm. They will fall for the love bombing. They will fall for the fake facade that the narcissist is presenting, because he or she knows that that's the only way they can get someone empathic. Now, the reason why they cannot think of having long-term relationships and marriages with people who are also narcissistic, it's because those narcissistic people don't have empathy and they have no patience. So you will always find that when narcissists marry other narcissists, it's very short-lived. And you see that with many celebrities. You find that their marriages don't last very long because they're actually using each other to climb the fame ladder. They're using each other to climb the financial ladder. They feed off each other's status and fame, and it never lasts long with celebrities. And it's the same with narcissists. So narcissists on a more regular level, on a more, non-celebrity level, they'll have flings with other narcissists, or they'll marry another narcissist because that narcissist has a lot of money, and once they get the money from the narcissist, they're off. So narcissists, when they are looking for long-term partners, people who have their children, people they want to spend the rest of their lives with, they will go for empathic people, because empathic people give narcissists excuses. They justify their behavior. They might be patient for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to keep a marriage together, to keep a family together, to keep the children under one umbrella. So they know that if they go for someone who has that fear of Allah or that love for Allah, and they're on the deen, and they're highly empathic, they make excuses for people, they will go out of their way to do things for people, they're people pleasers. Obviously, we know this now from podcasts and the book that I've written, and from many other, videos and works of other people who have written about this. We know that the codependent is a people pleaser. So that is the reason why narcissistic people adore codependents, because the codependent is always on a mission to seek the approval and validation of the narcissist, constantly. Codependents can't marry each other either. They get bored of each other because they don't have their needs fulfilled from each other. Codependents don't seek the approval from each other. They get sick of each other very quickly because it's like they're looking in the mirror. No one wants to look in the mirror when you have a disorder. So if you're looking at someone else who's a codependent, if you're a codependent living with another codependent, it's like you're constantly looking in the mirror, and you'll start to hate yourself even more. Because when you see your codependency in the other person, you start to not only dislike yourself more, but you get very frustrated at that person. Because now you're starting to see your faults. Now you're starting to see how you really are in front of other people. So narcissists don't like looking in the mirror with other narcissists. That's why they're very short-lived, their relationships. And it's the same with codependents. So in order for a codependent to be, I wouldn't say happy, because that's not true happiness, but in order for a codependent to be happy in a relationship, they need to be with someone who doesn't mirror them. And that's the narcissist, because the narcissist has a different type of disorder. And the narcissist can give the codependent the validation that they need. And the codependent can give the narcissist the stability and, the being put on a pedestal by the codependent, right? So if a codependent is constantly seeking the approval of the narcissist, the codependent immediately puts the narcissist on a pedestal, makes them feel important. And they know that they don't deserve it. They know that deep inside, they don't actually have anything to offer anybody that entitles them to, be sitting on that pedestal. Narcissists are people who hate themselves. Narcissists are people who are so deeply troubled by everything that they go through in life. And they're actually troubled by all the damage they cause to other people as well. They know that they're not good people. They might not know that they're narcissists and that they have a disorder, but they all know that there's something wrong with them. Okay? So a narcissist, when you're in a narcissistic relationship and the codependent is continuously putting the narcissist on a pedestal, the more you do that with a narcissist, the more they disrespect you, the more they feel that you are so stupid. Because they know that if you could see what they're really like inside, and how they don't feel deserving of any good treatment, and how they don't feel that they are worthy of love and respect and kindness, you would understand why the narcissist actually loathes their victims. They hate their victims because they feel like their victims are giving them something that they don't deserve. They feel like their victims are too oblivious and too stupid and too naive to actually see who they really are inside. So what usually happens in this situation is that because codependents are more empathic than others, like in terms of when it comes to having a disorder, codependents are more empathic than narcissists. They're more empathic than sociopaths and psychopaths. So they do look for people to fix. Codependents are fixers. Codependents are people who want to, they look for broken people to repair because their self-worth comes from improving the lives of other people. This is empaths as well. Lower level empaths will be attracted to narcissists who are broken. Higher level empaths will avoid narcissists. Higher level empaths will know that you cannot change people unless they want to be changed themselves. Empaths know that it's not their responsibility to go around changing other people and fixing other people's problems. So you'll find that higher level empaths will not entertain or even consider a narcissist for marriage if that person has not worked on his or herself and healed from their past traumas. But the lower level empaths that are more borderline codependent, they will accept narcissists into their lives. They will see a broken man or a broken woman. They'll see a broken man who's, maybe broken-hearted from losing his ex-wife, losing his children, who's been badly beaten in life. So the empath/codependent will want to give that narcissist a chance to actually experience love, experience stability, experience home, experience family. They want to give the narcissist that. Because what they see in the narcissist is a little child that they want to look after. They see the vulnerability in that narcissist that they really want to nurture. And usually these empaths/codependents, when they were younger, they were often praised for helping others. So if you are someone who is often praised for, well done, you're helping your parents, well done, you've helped your siblings, and they always rely on you to be the one to fix a situation or be even a mediator in the family. Even when your parents are having a fight, you're the one who's called in to, sort the problem out, or you feel like you need to be the hero in that situation and solve all the family's problems and calm everyone down. If you were that child growing up, then you are going to be someone who will look, subconsciously, you will look for people to fix and you will attract narcissists to you. Because narcissists can smell this. When they first meet you, they can smell this off you. They are so good at reading people. They know a codependent or low-level empath miles away, from absolutely miles away. And they gravitate towards you. And they will test you. They will come into your life and you get to know them. And they're just so fascinated about your life. They want to know every detail about your day. They want to learn everything about you. Now, to an empath or a low-level empath or a codependent who's never really had that attention before, who's never really had that love and care before, feels overwhelmed. They feel like, wow, someone actually cares about me. Someone actually cares about what I do in my day. Someone cares about how I live my life. Someone cares about who I am as a person. They really want to know. They're that interested in me that they want to know, right? And then they feel like, I've never met someone like this before. What they don't know is that the narcissist is studying them to see if this person is truly, the partner that they need for a long-term marriage. They want to see what kind of childhood you had. They want to see if you're a people pleaser. They want to see if you're God-fearing. They want to see if you put Allah first before everything, because if you're someone who does that, then they know that they can manipulate you with religion. They want to know and study all your weak points. You could be telling them a story and they're making notes of all your weak points. I can manipulate them with this. I can manipulate them with that. But during this time, during the love bombing phase, and during this time when they're giving you so much attention, they are constantly talking to you, constantly showing interest in you. The victim feels important. They are really enjoying the feeling of feeling so important to somebody. Like, wow, I must really be worthy and valuable for someone to be investing this much time in me. And narcissists know this very well. They know that you're not used to this attention. They know that you're not used to this level of care and love, and do you know what I mean? So they will continue this until they feel 100% confident that if they marry you, It's going to be a long-term thing. That you're not going to discard them. That you're very naive. You don't understand what narcissism is. You don't understand what they're doing. So they will throw out a few tests here and there. They will throw out a few tests. They might be tests according to how you react to a situation. Okay? And they might be tests in regards to your level of knowledge of the deen. They might be tests of, respect boundaries. They might push your respect boundaries to see how you react. Do you have boundaries or not? Do you have self-respect or not? Are you tolerant? Are you patient? If I do something disrespectful, how are you going to deal with that? They need to know. A narcissist will not invest in a relationship with a victim if this victim is not high quality for them. And a high quality victim is somebody who has a lot to give in empathy, in care, nurturing, stability, a home, money. It could be all of these things, right? You might be the trophy wife. You might be someone that they need to boost their self-esteem, which however they view themselves and what they're missing in their self-esteem, if they find it in you, that's what they'll hold on to. If they feel like they're a nobody in society, they will go for someone who is well known in society to boost their status. Oh, wow, he's married to this woman. Oh, wow, she's married to that man. If he's not doing well financially, he will find someone who is financially well off. If he's looking for mum, he will go for a woman who's very nurturing. There are lots of narcissists out there who gravitate towards women who are very maternal. And the same for women. Narcissistic women will gravitate towards men who are very paternal. So if they feel like they didn't have a good childhood with their mother or father, they will actually look for someone who will compensate for their childhood. And that's why so many of them are very immature. You'll find that there are some men, well, actually this is most narcissists, but when a narcissistic man gravitates towards a woman who's maternal, you will often find that he's very immature. He acts like a teenager most of the time. And if he's not a teenager, he will act like a 7-year-old most of the time. They love that feeling of having a mum, the mum that they never had, and vice versa too. And a lot of the women who are in relationships or in marriages with men who are looking for the maternal will find that their intimacy is very bad. They always complain about, a non-existent sex life or hardly any intimacy. The man is not attracted to them. And he's always cheating. He's always looking for a second wife, or he's always on the hunt for a sexual victim, right? For sexual reasons. And it's because of the fact that man is viewing his wife as mum. Pretty much. Just to sum it up, that's just me explaining it in brief. And it's the same the other way around. If a woman looks upon her husband as a paternal figure, she'll find it very difficult to have intimate relations with her husband. She will cheat on him because he's too much like her father. He's too much of a father figure for her to be able to be attracted to him in a sexual way, you see. And that's how lots of marriages break down, because the intimacy is not there. The intimacy is not there, and people take it personally. They don't understand why this person is not attracted to them, why, this person has no interest in them in that sense, but they're doing everything for them. But still, no matter what they do, that person finds it very difficult to be intimate. When you're perceived as a father or a mother in that relationship, intimacy will always be really bad. Always be really bad. Okay? So the whole point of this podcast is for me to explain to you how narcissism is a satanic mission to ruin the family unit. Okay, let me touch upon the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ when he said, the devil is most pleased when families are broken. Okay, so let's go through the hadith. The hadith is when Jabir radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, verily Satan places his throne over the water and he sends out his troops. The closest to him in rank are the greatest at causing tribulations. One of them says, I have done this and this. Satan says, you have done nothing. Another one says, I did not leave this man alone until I separated him from his wife. Satan embraces him and says, you have done well. This is in Sahih Muslim. So if you look at this hadith, you will see that, who are these people that destroy marriages? Let's speak about the Muslim marriages, okay? We're going to speak about the context of the Muslim marriage. Who are these people who ruin Muslim marriages? They are the narcissists. They are the narcissists because they target good people. They target good people to marry only to sabotage the relationship later. Now, when I say they sabotage the marriage later, it's because of that self-hate. Like I said, they don't feel deserving of anything good. When something gets really good, when something gets to the peak of being fantastic, and this is why a lot of victims find it difficult to get over a relationship with the narcissist, because the narcissist starts to devalue their victim when things are at their best, when the relationship is at the best, and it makes no sense. So the devaluation stage is when the narcissist all of a sudden starts to disrespect you after all the love bombing, and they're trying their best to keep the relationship together so you don't leave them. They've got X, Y, Z to benefit from you, and they have to keep you sweet. They have to keep you sweet for as long as they can get those benefits from you. They're not going to abuse you until the benefits start running out for them. It could be money, it could be anything. Okay? They could just be getting bored. The narcissist may have got bored. And that's when the devaluation stage starts. So when they start to feel like their benefits are running out, or they're getting bored, or maybe someone else has come along in their life who is a better source of supply, who has better benefits that they can benefit from, that they can have, that's when they'll start the devaluation stage. The devaluation stage always comes before the discard stage. So because they can't leave you healthy. They can't leave you as a sane human being. If they leave you, they have to leave you behind in a burning building so that no one else has you. That you can't be fit for anyone else. They don't want anyone else having what they had. So they have to leave you destroyed before they walk out that door. Okay? I've got another video about this. I've got another podcast about this, about, what happens when a narcissist, about the hoovering, the previous podcast, about the difference of when you discard them or walk away from them and when they discard you and what happens in that scenario. That's a different subject. But the devaluation stage always happens before they, make their exit moves. And the devaluation stage is always the stage in which they're looking for somebody else. Okay, they're grooming other victims. So, because a narcissist can never move on from a relationship unless they have a backup supply waiting in the wings. So, in this case, in this scenario, in the devaluation stage, you'll find that the narcissist will start to disrespect you, will start to dishonor you, will start to throw your faults back at you. They'll start to gaslight you. They'll abuse you. They'll, everything that they loved about you, they'll start picking on them. They'll start telling you that you don't look good, that they're not attracted to you, that you need to lose weight. They will say things like, compare you to other people. They might be disrespectful and stare at other men or stare at other women in your presence to make you jealous. They will start creating problems out of nothing. So when things were going so well, or when you thought that they were going so well, like I said, they wait until they reach a peak. They wait until they reach a peak. And then it starts going downhill from there. Now, by this stage, you might have children. You might have children with this narcissist, okay? And if you've got children with this narcissist, a lot of people tolerate the devaluation stage. They get desperate. They panic because they need to fix the marriage. They're like, I don't want to get a divorce because I've got children. Now, what can I do in this situation? So a lot of victims, they panic and they work even harder to please the narcissist. What is it that you're not happy with? I will do anything. I will do anything to fix this marriage. Now here, when this happens, the narcissist is enjoying the extra attention, enjoying this feeling of being so grandiose and being so important that they allow you to run rings around them, doing everything that you can to keep the marriage together. They're enjoying it while they're still in the devaluation stage. They are still looking for other sources of supply. It doesn't change anything. But now they're just, you've just upped the dose of what they were getting before. They see that you're desperate. They see that you're panicking. And when they see you in that state of being, they also see you suffer. They also see your health deteriorate. They see that you're unable to sleep. They see that you're now on medications and antidepressants because they're not getting the same treatment as before. They're starting to feel unworthy, disrespected. They're starting to feel replaceable, unimportant. And the narcissist loves it when you see that, because in his or her mind, they're thinking, yes, this is the beginning of their destruction. If I continue this, I will be able to leave. They won't leave until they believe you're completely destroyed. And that's why so many victims find it so difficult, like I said, to get over being discarded by a narcissist, because they only discard when they feel like they have done the maximum damage to you. It's sick, but this is how they are. And if you look at it from an Islamic psychological perspective, you will understand how this is a part of the Satanic mission. The Satanic mission is that the shaitan will send his soldiers, he will send his troops, he will send them to attack all the good people who don't have boundaries, who are not aware of these people, who are not aware of the Satanic mission of these people. You think that these people follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet? Far from it. When narcissistic people follow their egos, and the ego is ruled by the shaitan, the ego is controlled by your qareen that follows you everywhere. Your qareen is evil. Your qareen is not meant to be good. The only person on the planet who ever had a good qareen who was a believer is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the only one who had a good qareen. All of us have evil qareens. The evil jinn that accompanies us wherever we go. We have 4 angels and we have 1 qareen from the jinn. And when you get negative thoughts in your mind, when you get, people who have suicidal thoughts, depressive thoughts that don't let them move on with their life, negative thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, negative thoughts about the deen, about their iman, all of that comes from the qareen. It's the whispers of the shaitan that accompanies you everywhere. That's where those thoughts come from. Okay? So narcissists are people who are controlled by their qareen. And the qareen is, obviously, we know, one of the satanic troops. So when the shaitan sends out his troops to dismantle the family unit, especially the Muslim family unit, he does it through narcissistic people. Because narcissistic people are ruled by their egos. They are slaves to their egos. They worship their egos. Their ego tells them to trample on somebody to get to their desires, to get to their goals and missions. They will do that because it's what they want. A narcissist will only have a relationship with you if he or she feels that they have a lot to benefit from you. And they don't care who they have to destroy to get there. They don't care how many families they have to destroy to get there. They don't care how much destruction they have to cause to get what they want, because they have no empathy. They cannot put themselves in the shoes of other people. They cannot ask themselves, if someone did this to me, will I be happy? They don't have that ability. So people who are ruled by their egos are people who do not care about the feelings of others. They will happily go into a marriage with somebody who is a good person. They know that person is a good person with the intention of sabotaging that relationship, sabotaging that marriage, leaving children, with single parents, leaving children broken and in dysfunctional families. They know this from the very beginning. You think a narcissist, no matter what the narcissist tells you, you think that the narcissist actually has hope, actually has the intention to have a marriage for life that they work on and that they're investing in. Never. They will tell you what you want to hear, They always tell you what you want to hear. But they're not capable of doing it because of their lack of empathy. The lack of empathy, I'm telling you guys, when someone has their empathy taken away from them, it's a curse. It's their karma in this life, because narcissists can never be happy. No matter how much they want to be loved, and no matter how much they want to be cared for and looked after, no matter how much they want to be good people, they can't, because they've got no empathy. Now, until they look at themselves inside and decide that they want to make a change, they don't want to be that person anymore, they don't want to be narcissistic anymore, that they want to make a change and, and go to therapy and get the help that they need and get the help that they need in the deen and all of that, until that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away their empathy. And this is their karma in life. A lot of people say to me, the narc gets away with everything. Allah doesn't punish the narcs. The narcs always have a good life. They always find new sources of supply. They always find new victims. They get through life through their string of victims. And we're the ones who are destroyed. We're the ones who have nothing. No. A narcissist already is living in karma. The lack of empathy, or the non-existence of empathy in their lives, will always make them live in this cycle, where they just continue collecting sins. They continue until they find themselves on the Day of Judgment with a mountain load of sins and people they have to be accountable for, victims they have to be accountable for. You've got to look at it from that way. The narcissist is already living in their karma. If a narcissist truly loved themselves, they would not sabotage a good marriage. They would not sabotage a good relationship. They would not sabotage having a stable family and not being in the presence of people who love them. A lot of the victims love these narcissists. They really love them and they care about them and they want to help them. They want to help them be better people. They want to help them on the deen. They want to help them pray and they want to help them, heal. A lot of these people who get with narcissists, who invest in them heavily, are people who genuinely love them. But because of the lack of self-love in the narcissist, they can't appreciate that. No matter what you do for a narcissist, they will never see it as love. They see it as you being stupid. Why are you giving me all this? Why are you investing in me? You don't know who I am. So they will never appreciate it. You can never appreciate what you don't believe you don't deserve. If you believe that you don't deserve something, it's very difficult to appreciate it. And that's their karma, because they would rather continue in this way, living their lives in this way, than actually stopping for a moment to think, why am I like this? I don't want to be this person anymore, right? So when they leave a relationship, instead of just spending a few months with themselves, thinking about the damage that they've caused, repairing damage that they've caused, apologizing, asking for forgiveness from people, they just jump to the next victim. They jump and they jump and they jump and they jump. They end up having so many relationships in their lives because they're continuously running away from who they are. They're running away from who they are. Imagine having to run away all the time from people who are trying to catch you, from police who are trying to catch you. You're a criminal on the run. You can't live in one place in peace because you know that those police are going to catch up to you sooner or later. And they're just constantly on the run. They have no peace. They've got no stability. They run and they run and they run and they run. They've got no sense of home. They don't have home. So when people say, oh, the narcissist gets away with everything in life, this and that, it's not true. It's not true. They are already living a punishment. They are already living in a very insecure state of being. They don't sleep at night. Narcissists do not sleep at night. They have sleeping problems because it all catches up to them. It's like, when you try to sleep and your thoughts are driving you mad. You're thinking about work, you're thinking about debts, you're thinking about your children, you're worried about something, and you find it very difficult to sleep. Narcissists have this all the time. All the time. All the time. They will find sleeping very difficult. So narcissistic people, unfortunately, will latch on to good people. And this is a part of the Satanic mission, to attack the good people. When you bring down the good people, when you destroy the morale and the spirit and the physical health and the mental health and the religious iman in somebody, that's Satanic mission completed. You know, you have someone, a beautiful empath, you know, someone who's working on themselves, someone who's got so much to give, so much love, so much empathy. They've got knowledge of the deen, they've got iman, they pray, they fast, they wear hijab, whatever it is that they do. And then by the end of a narcissistic relationship, they've lost their iman, they've lost their physical health, they've now got digestive and immune system problems because of the stress that they've been through with the narcissist. They've got chronic depression, they're on pills, and so many other things. They may have lost their job, they may have lost their family, they may have lost friends because the narcissist isolates them from everybody, you know, during the marriage. The narcissist would have completely destroyed the self-esteem of that person by betraying them, cheating on them, telling them how ugly they are, telling them how non-religious they are. A lot of Muslim narcissists, they will use your sins against you in the devaluation stage. They might laugh at you and they say, oh, you're praying, you've just committed that sin, you're not going to heaven. They feel like they have the authority to say these things to you. Like, oh, you can't be that religious. Remember when you did this, this, this? And it might be something that you told them that you did many years ago before you married them. For example, you may have told them that you were in a haram relationship once, or that you used to smoke weed once, or that you used to go clubbing. Maybe you used to do that when you were 17, 18, 19. You're now in your mid-30s married to this person, and they bring it up and they say, oh, you think you're so religious? Well, you were clubbing when you were younger. You were in a haram relationship when you were younger. This is what the narcissists extract from you when they get to know you. They want to know everything about you, all your past sins, because when they see you, you know, attempt to be religious, to be practicing, and it annoys them because they can never be practicing. Narcissistic people can never be spiritual, and they can never be truly religious, by the way. They'll pretend to be, but they don't actually have any connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because their ego is ruled by the shaitan. You can't have both. You can't have an ego ruled by the shaitan and be loyal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't have both. So when they see that you're completely loyal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, imagine how the shaitan looks at that. I don't like that. I don't like that you're loyal to Allah. I want you to be loyal to me. So the narcissist will start to make you believe that Allah will not forgive you. Allah will not look upon you in good favor. You did this. What are you praying for? You think Allah's going to forgive you? So they try to disconnect you from Allah the same way they are disconnected from Allah. This is what religious abuse is. This is what spiritual abuse is. They will try to disconnect you from your connection of Allah, and it comes out of jealousy. If you just picture this, picture the shaitan, and he sees people praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're not bowing to him. They're not conforming to what he wants and what he needs from you. You don't think he's going to be jealous of that? Of course he will. He's going to be super jealous. And he's going to do everything he can to sabotage your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the shaitan promised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I will ambush them from every direction. I will jump at them when they least expect it. Only your strongest followers and believers will not follow me. But the rest, the weaklings, I'll get them. Oh, I'll get them. And I'll get them through all my soldiers, shayateen al-ins and shayateen al-jinn. Shayateen al-ins, the human devils, are the narcissists. Because they pretend to be religious. They pretend to be good and kind and pious so that they can deceive you and lure you in. So that they can get your trust. So you marry them. But once you marry them, you know, what did the shaitan say to his followers? The best among you are those who break up families. Because the shaitan knows that when you have a strong family, empathic husband, empathic wife, you will raise strong children. And strong families lead to strong communities. And strong communities lead to strong countries. And strong countries together create the ummah. They create the ummah. So think about it. You know, look at all the colonialists. When the West colonized, the Middle East and Africa and Asia. They had to break it up. They had to break our worlds up into bite-sized chunks so that they could, colonize everything. And we are in the secular world that we're in today. Our Muslim countries are becoming secular. Our Muslim countries are not even following the deen. They're not following proper Sharia. It's all becoming secular now because they had to break it up into bite-sized chunks. This is Satanic mission. Colonization is a Satanic mission. Because when something is so big, when the Ummah is so big and so strong, Shaitan cannot defeat that. He can't. And it's the same with the family unit. The Shaitan knows to prevent Muslims from becoming one Ummah, one powerful Ummah, you've got to dismantle the family unit. So we can't let good people marry good people. We can't let empaths marry empaths. We've got to get the narcissists in with the empaths, in with the good codependents. Because when that happens, there's no family unit. Eventually that family will break. Because it's inevitable that the narcissist will self-sabotage, will set fire to that relationship, even when it's going so well. People are like, why would he do that? Why would he or she leave this marriage? It was the best thing that ever happened to them. They had the love and the security and the stability and the children and the family. What more could they possibly want? Why would they sabotage it? This is Satanic mission. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Only an empath will see it through. Only an empath will see it through to their dying day because they appreciate it. An empath will appreciate the ni'mah, the blessings of having a good husband, a good wife, the stability of family. Only an empath will appreciate that. Only a codependent will appreciate that because that's what they want. They people please to get what they need, and what they need is that security, stability. Narcissists don't need that. Narcissists just need your compliance. Narcissists, they just need the benefits that they can get from you. A codependent will stay in a relationship for life because the codependent finally finds the stability that they never had as a child. The codependent is often that child who ran away from home or just couldn't wait to get out of their family house because of how toxic it was. So they run looking for stability, looking for family. And they so desperately try to make it work with the narcissist. They desperately try. They will do everything. They will bend over backwards to ensure that the narcissist doesn't leave. And the narcissist knows this. That's why all the manipulation and games are played on the victim. Because the narcissist can see how badly the victim wants this relationship to work. And that's why, again, it becomes so difficult when a codependent gets discarded by the narcissist or gets cheated on by the narcissist or betrayed because of all the energy and effort that they had to put in to make this relationship last for as long as it did. It's the pain of loss and the grief that victims feel when they're easily discarded by the narcissist after they gave it their all. This is what cripples a lot of victims. And it can take them years and years and years to get over it. Years and years and years. Because they didn't understand what was going on. You can't change other people. A lot of clients, they come to me and they say, how do we change the narcissist? You can't change the narcissist. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility. It's not your burden to change a narcissist. But as soon as you figure out and address your codependency, that is when you'll be set free from the narcissist. The codependency that keeps you trauma bonded to the narc. The codependency that keeps you a slave to the narc. The codependency that keeps you tolerant of the abuse that the narc inflicts upon you. Once you address that, that's when you'll be set free. When you finally understand what you're doing there. Why are you there? Why are you tolerating it? Why are you marrying these people? Why are you marrying narcissistic people? That's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because it is spreading in our Muslim communities. There are many Muslim narcissists who are now adopting the traits of the shaitan. What happened? Look, Think about the story of the shaitan, okay, with Adam alayhi salam. You think he came across to Adam as an evil being? You think he came across to Adam alayhi salam as someone who wanted harm for him? No. He came across as a friend. He had this facade. He had the facade of a good being, a good creature. I want the best for you. I love you. I'm advising you because I want the best for you. You know, I'm being a friend to you, and I'm telling you some secrets here about that tree. You think that the shaitan did not deceive Adam into thinking he was a good being? That's what narcissists do. They know that to get into the life of an empath, you've got to act like the empath. You've got to pretend that you want the best for them. You've got to pretend that, you know, you're their friend and you want to give them good. You want to give them something good. There's no problem if you eat the fruit of that tree. You know, I'm your friend. I know what's best. I've been here longer than you. That's what they do. This is why we have the story of the shaitan, because it's Allah's way of teaching us how narcissistic people will come across in our lives. They are satanic. They operate on a satanic level. They act like the shaitan when they want something from you, when they want you to do something, when they want to destroy you. They have to meet you at your level. They meet you at the level of an empath. Because believe me, they know how to be empathic if they want to be. Because if they didn't know, they wouldn't be able to fake it. But they can only fake it to a certain level, because they can fake empathy, but they'll never have it, because it's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they don't have, and they hate it. They hate that they don't have empathy. They are so jealous of empathic people, because empathic people are loved. Empathic people are not running all their lives. Empathic people are at peace. Empathic people find it easy to move on. Empathic people find it easy to forgive and not hold grudges. Empathic people are always put on a pedestal by others, and they hate it. They want what you have, and more often than not, it's the empathy. They want to take it from you because they don't have it. If I can't have it, you can't have it. If I can't have the love of people, you can't have the love of people. If I can't have deen and iman and a connection with God, you can't have it either. So essentially, narcissists will always go for people who they're jealous of, because their aim is to take everything from you. They want to rob it from you. Even if they can't rob it and have it for themselves, they'd rather rob it from you so that you and them are on the same level. Now I've made you like me. Now you're not better than me. Me and you we're the same now. You're a broken mess of a person. You can't sleep. You're taking pills. You look terrible, right? You've got no iman, no connection with God. Now I can leave you in peace because you are now like me. And they will keep finding people who they believe are better than them to take away what good they have in them. And again, this is why I wrote the book. I wrote the book so that you can recognize the signs of these people. You can recognize the behavior of these people when you first meet them. And honestly, I will say this now, and I'll say it 1,000 times. If you are in a relationship with such a person and you do not have children, get out of that relationship. Because the clock is ticking. The discard is coming. The devaluation is coming. These people don't change. They can promise you the moon and the stars. They don't change. It's a disorder. It's, like I said, it's a satanic spirit. It's a satanic spirit that has a hold on them. They can't change. If you've got friends like this, cut them off. If you've got extended family like this, stay away from them. If you've got narcissistic parents like this, distance yourself. Distance yourself. Because even narcissistic parents will destroy your family. A narcissistic mother will get so involved in the life of her son who is married, and she will destroy his marriage. She will meddle in his marriage. That's why you get the narcissistic mother-in-laws who meddle so much in their sons' lives because they're jealous. You have what they don't have, which is a loving marriage, a good marriage. You've got a good wife. You've got something stable going on there. And the narcissistic mother doesn't like it. She's like, no, you don't deserve it. Or the woman you married doesn't deserve it. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to your time. I'm entitled to your effort and your care and your attention. That's why you get a lot of nightmare mother-in-laws. And you get father-in-laws who are the same. Fathers and fathers-in-law. You know, they're always out there ruining other people's marriages, ruining other people's lives, because they can't stand it that you have what they don't have. They can't stand it. No caring, loving mother or father would get that involved in their son's marriage or their daughter's marriage and meddle in it so much. Narcissists will also ruin other people's marriages by sleeping with other people's wives. They do it. Narcissistic women, I'm talking about Muslims here. Forget the non-Muslims, this is normal for them, right? We're talking about Muslim communities now. You get Muslim women who sleep with other women's husbands. And they ruin their families too. Can you see how it's a satanic mission? Can you see how the narcissist has a mission, a spiritual mission, to ruin and destroy as much as they can? Can you see it? Including the lives of their own children. When they're narcissistic with their own children, when they make their children hate the deen, when they use the deen to get what they want and manipulate them. If you don't listen to me, you'll go to hell. Allah said that if you don't listen to your mother, you'll go to hell. Allah said if you don't do this and if you don't do that, you're going to hell. There's no wonder why there are so many Muslims leaving Islam in their adult age because of the manipulation their parents put them through. So if they're not destroying they're not just destroying your life, they're destroying the lives of their children by giving them all sorts of mental health problems. They are destroying the lives of other people, their in-laws. They are destroying the lives of other families if they get involved in other people's lives, such as, cheating, betrayal with other married people. They do this. The more destruction they cause, the more their ego is rewarded by the shaitan. The shaitan is pleased with them and they know it. They don't subconsciously know that they're following the shaitan, by the way. I know I'll get this question. Do they know that they're satanic worshippers? No, they don't. The majority don't. Unless you're very, very, very high up in your narcissism, unless you're very high up there, you will not be completely conscious that you are a satanic worshipper. You won't know. And that's why when you look at, if you look at the lives of, for example, you've got the Freemasons, they consciously know that they're satanic worshippers, they're devil worshippers, because they're so high up there in their level of psychopathy, and they're complete psychopaths up there. When you've reached that level of being a complete psychopath, you will be very aware of who your Lord is, who your God is, and they know that their God is Satan, and they openly say it. They openly say it in their Freemason Bible. You can see that they, that they worship the devil. But people on the lower levels of narcissism, they're not conscious of it. They just know that there's something not right about them. They know that they worship something different. They worship their ego, and their ego is connected to the shaitan. Your ego is your drive to sin. Your ego is what makes you, do wrong things, chase your desires, chase the unlawful things. People who follow their egos are always falling into sin all the time, because they've got no control over it. There was a famous scholar who said that the one who trains his ego is like the one who trains a wild horse. Either you're going to let the horse control you and take you wherever it wants to go, or you're going to have control over the horse, and the horse will go wherever you want it to go. It's one or the other. You can't have in between. Sometimes you'll get, sometimes you'll have control over the horse, and you might, in a moment of daziness or distraction, the horse will take off, and it will have a bit of control over you for a little while, and you end up falling into sin and chasing things that are not good for you. Everyone falls into that. That's the human being. You will have moments when the horse في غفلة, when you're not paying attention, when you've let the reins down a little bit, the horse will take an opportunity to take off and lead you where it wants to go. And that's why people fall into major sins or fall into the minor sins. It's those moments of weakness which are found in all of us. And that's why we have repentance. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, because none of us are given the opportunity or the ability or the capability of controlling that horse the entire time. You need to rest sometimes. It's tiring. It's exhausting being good all the time. It's difficult. It's not easy to stay away from all sins all the time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that He's created us to be like that. So when we have those moments of weakness where the horse finds an opportunity to run away with us for a little bit, we have the doors of repentance that are open for us. Ya Allah, make me strong. Ya Allah, don't make me weak. Ya Allah, give me the ability to fight my ego. Ya Allah, give me the ability to control my ego. That's what we say in dua every time we slip. And the best of us are those who repent. But the narcissist doesn't have that. The narcissist doesn't see anything wrong with chasing their ego. They allow the horse to run wherever it wants to go. Wherever it wants to go. They don't care. They really don't care. Because to them, they're not doing anything wrong. To them, because they're following Satanic guidance, it's the right thing to do, right? So the Satanic mission is do whatever you want. Live your life, be happy. Nothing is haram here. Everything is halal. So live your life happily. And obviously, we all know that this is the Satanic delusion. On the Day of Judgment, all of these narcissists, sociopaths and psychopaths will stand up in front of the shaitan on the Day of Judgment and say, well, you told us that this was the right way to live. You told us it was okay. And he says, no, I told you what to do. But it was your choice whether to listen to it or not. You've got a brain, haven't you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a brain. He gave you intellect. He gave you guidance. He gave you the Quran. He gave you the prophets. But you chose to listen to me. So they will be deceived on the Day of Judgment. And again, that will be their karma. So they have karma in this life. And they'll have karma in the next life. When they're faced with the reality that the devil himself will wash his hands off them. He'll say, you're not my problem. It was your choice. You had all the evidence in front of you. You had the ability and the time and the capability of changing and becoming better and living a better life. But you chose to be depressed. You chose to be evil. You chose to be, you chose to be a weak human being who has no control over their ego. Narcissists are very weak people. The powerful people are the empaths who have control over their egos, because the ego really is like a powerful horse. If you can train and control that horse in you, you are a powerful person. Don't you think for a second that the narcissist doesn't know that. The narcissist views the empath as a very powerful human being because they're not weak. Now, the supernova empath is the narcissist's worst nightmare. It's the psychopath's worst nightmare. Because the supernova empath will crush and destroy the narcissist. The supernova empath, I always bring this example from Islamic history, but a supernova empath is someone like Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Right? He was extremely powerful, but at the same time he was a super empath. No one dared to cross him. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, he said to Umar ibn al-Khattab, he said, Umar, I'm not quoting, this is not word for word, but it's the meaning of the hadith, that by Allah who's, whom my soul is in his hand, he swore by his soul, he swore by Allah. He said, Umar, the shaitan himself does not see you except that he crosses the road because he's terrified of you. He was the only person who the shaitan himself wasn't able to face, because Umar was such a supernova empath. He was powerful, but he wasn't narcissistic. He was powerful, but empathic. He was powerful and just. He was powerful and, you couldn't mess around with Umar ibn al-Khattab. You could not mess around with him. You could not mess around with his iman. Any criminal who came across his path would be destroyed. And that's why there was no crime in his time. There was no poverty in his time. Because people were terrified of Umar ibn al-Khattab, but for a good reason, not because, he instilled that fear in them. It's because they respected him so much that they didn't dare commit crimes. They didn't dare, disrespect women in his time, because he stood up for people. He stood up for the weak. He stood up for women. He stood up for the oppressed. He fought for them. He used his narc traits in a good way. He used his intimidation powers and his, just the way he was just so scary and so strict, and so, these can be used in a negative way to oppress people, but they can also be used in a way to protect the people. Like if I'm strict and if I'm tough, and if I enforce these strict rules and these strict punishments, then people will respect, and there will be no crime. People will live in peace. And if you look at the Quran and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about punishment, hell, hell, heaven, all of these things, it's the same. It's not because Allah wants us to fear him all the time. It's because Allah wants us to respect each other. He wants us to respect and take care of each other and love each other and not oppress each other. If there was no concept of hell, if the reality of hell was not there and punishment was not there, people wouldn't take anything seriously. Why would people treat others well? Everyone would just be a narcissist, living life, getting what they need from other people, not caring how those other people feel about it, or if they're being oppressed or if they're being hurt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to speak about, the seriousness of hell, the seriousness of punishment, in order to enforce justice and morality and so that we know that there's a day of judgment coming. So we keep ourselves in check, we keep ourselves in line. We know something is coming that's not good for us if we don't behave a certain way. It's not because he wants to scare us or be barbaric or be intimidating or be, or be a tyrannical God. No, it's not because of that. It's because having this belief that hell exists and punishments exist in the akhirah helps us to stay in line. Keeps our morality in check, keeps us good human beings, keeps us good people. And Umar ibn al-Khattab and the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu and Ali radiallahu anhu, all of them implemented that in society. They were all supernova empaths, and people had respect for them. So you've got to look at it from that perspective. You've got to look at narcissism as a spiritual problem. It is a satanic problem. This is the Islamic psychology behind narcissism, that it is a satanic problem. And it's the shaitan's way of getting shayateen, of allowing people their chance and the choice of becoming part of his, troops. The shayateen al-ins. Allah said to us in the Quran, we have shayateen al-ins and shayateen al-jinn. We know that they already exist. There are devils in human form and devils in jinn form, the form that we don't see. And they're the ones that are used in black magic and sihr and all those things. Right? So if we know that these people exist, if you just sit for 2 minutes and ask yourselves, who are the shayateen al-ins that Allah speaks about? If they exist, who are they? They are the people who are destroying the empaths. They're destroying the good people. They are oppressing the good people. They are making as many people as possible lose their deen, lose their physical health, lose their love for Allah, lose their love for the Prophet. When a husband comes and continuously uses Islam to justify abusing his wife because she's meant to obey him and be a slave to him and, and all of these things that he's taken out of context and he's taken out of complete interpretation, so that he could justify his abuse. He might lock his wife in the house because, she has to do whatever he wants her to do. She's forced to cook, she's forced to clean, she's forced to have sexual relations with him, even when she's sick, when she's tired, when she hates him, after she's been whipped, after she's been beaten black and blue, he wants to now sleep with her. Even the Prophet Muhammad condemned this. He said, how can any of you, come to your wives seeking intimate relations after you've just whipped her like a dog, whipped her like a camel. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he looked so down on those people, on those kinds of men. He warned women about men like this. Men who use their social power or the power of them just being men, or their, justified reasons for treating women, from an Islamic perspective, which is completely wrong. But what's that going to do to the iman of a woman, of a wife? How is she going to raise children properly in a healthy mindset? How is she going to be a good wife? How is she going to be of any benefit to anybody when her soul is crushed, her iman is crushed? When her physical health, khalas, she's so done with life. So these are the shayateen al-ins. They are the hypocrites. Shayateen al-ins that aren't always hypocrites. Shayateen al-ins can also be the kuffar. They can also be open disbelievers who are just tyrannical and horrible people. But the hypocrites, the shayateen al-ins who are the hypocrites, are people who pretend to be Muslims, but in reality they follow the shaitan in their narcissism. They follow the shaitan in everything that they do in life, right? They implement satanic guidance rather than, divine guidance in their lives. And so this is why narcissism destroys homes, destroys families, destroys the ummah, because it's what, like I said, they don't stick together. They always attack and target the good people. And the work that I do is to open the eyes of the good people to this disorder. I want narcissists to change as well. I want them to realize what they're doing. I want them to open their eyes and realize before it's too late what they're doing to themselves, before anyone else. You're doomed from the beginning if you don't fix up and change and realize that you're actually following satanic orders here. I really want narcissists to change, and I will continuously work on creating an awareness of this and educating people about it, because this isn't just for the victims. This is also for the narcissists among us. They're still our brothers, they're still our sisters, and they need help. But there's only so much we can do, because at the end of the day, like I said, everyone is accountable for the choices they make in their life. If you don't want to help yourself, Allah said, the situation of the world will not change until people change what's in themselves. Indeed, Allah will not change the situation of a people until they change what's in themselves. So we can, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu was also told by Allah, you only have the mission of conveying the message, conveying knowledge, conveying the important information that people need to know. Whether people change or not, whether people follow or not, it's not your responsibility. So everyone who's listening out there who thinks that they can change the narcissist by making all the efforts and sacrificing their own lives and happiness and peace, to change a narcissist and feel really great about yourselves for changing narcissists, you're dreaming. Because even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give the prophets that mission, that responsibility of changing anybody. All you have to do is convey the message, convey the education, convey the knowledge, and it's up to them. We're not responsible for the decisions anyone makes in their lives. They have to take that responsibility and change themselves. So I hope that has been an interesting podcast for you to listen to. I hope that's made sense of many things. I hope, inshallah, that's helped people who are in this situation with a narcissist, and inshallah that will help to remove the sense of, self-blame. I don't want people to blame themselves for being in a situation with a narcissist and they're thinking, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, I can't change a narcissist. No matter what I do, nothing's ever helping them. It's not in your power. These people don't change unless they want to. So inshallah, I hope this has helped. And please, share this video, share this podcast with people who will benefit from it and who need to hear this, whether they're narcissists or not. Please send this, please share this with as many people as possible, because really trying to get the word out there. I do one-to-one counselling and coaching for people who need it, both narcissists and codependents and empaths too. I do marriage counselling as well. So if you need help in your lives or in your particular situations, just drop me an email, author@themuslimnarcissist.com. You can visit my website as well for more information about the counselling and coaching, themuslimnarcissist.com. And I'm happy to help. And like I said, I've got a book out for those of you who haven't read the book. It's available on Amazon. It's available, on many platforms online, in hardback copy, and you can also download it on Kindle. And please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, because I'm going to be releasing more podcasts and information about this subject in the future that inshallah you will benefit from. So I will leave it at that. And any comments, if you've got any comments, if you've got any questions, please post them in the comments box below and I will reply to you inshallah. Until then, till the next podcast inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.